Hey Clashers, we just had balance changes, and with that, the entire meta changed again. So with that, we're going to have a new ranking of every single mini in Clash Mini, so I think we should get started. And we're starting things with the heroes. We have the king in the lowest tier for the heroes, which is the C tier. He's just not really feeling as powerful anymore. Again, he's kind of not as tanky as some others, and then he's not dealing as much damage as some others, so he's really not in the best spot at the moment. The next three heroes, though, they are really close to each other, in my opinion. The Countess, the Royal Champion, which had a heavy nerf, and then the Shield Maiden. All of those three heroes are really close. They have good matchups, like the Countess into, I don't know, like the Shield Maiden into the Wave Master, for example. Then we have the Royal Champion, which having good and bad matchups, and so on. But this means, overall, they're really in a similar spot, and I think I would have liked to see all of those different heroes getting pushed onto the same level as those three. Then we have one hero which is a bit above that, and that is the Monk. The Monk, the ability of the Monk being able to one-shot anything is just incredible. The Monk is having a good matchup into pretty much every single hero except the Queen. And the Queen, well, the Queen is back on top. The Queen is back on top into S tier because of this really crazy meta right now, which is so in her favor. But there's one hero which is creating more chaos than the Queen can handle, and that's the Wave Master. This is why the Wave Master is a bit higher, but both heroes can be played really nicely on level 5 as well if you have the right deck. For that, make sure to check out my best deck video for every single hero. But I think as we have figured out what the hero ranking looks like, we should dive into the mini ranking. With the minis, we're going through every single tier one by one, which means we're going to start at the lowest and then finishing at the highest and the best mini in the game. But starting things off at the lowest tier, we have the D tier with the Swordsman still. I'm still not a big fan. She's still way too, most of the time she's not even getting her super off. I'm not a big fan of the mini at the moment. I really think there needs to be some rework. One idea which I had is to make the 3rd star ability of the Swordman anti-heal. Maybe then she's fitting a little bit better into this, but at the moment there's not a good place for her. The Witch as well. For me, still the Witch, I don't see her working. Versus the Queen, she's super weak because the Queen is getting her level 10. If you're having a level 10 Queen, for example, or versus the Wave Master, she's not good, and overall, she does not feel as strong to me. And the next mini is the Barbarian. As well, not in the greatest position just because he's like, you need to invest a lot of elixir into him to make him strong, but there's just other minis at the moment which are doing the same thing which he does in just so much more better in a consistent way. But that already was the D tier. Let's move on to the C tier, where we have starting things off with the Electro Wizard. The Electro Wizard overall, that's kind of strange, is not a bad mini. The problem for the Electro Wizard is just the mini which are good against him are right now the best mini in the game. And that's the big problem for him. So you would need to put a lot of elixir into him to actually make him useful, and that's most of the time not worth it because he's costing 4 elixir. So overall, the Electro Wizard not in a good spot. Not because he's weak, but the meta does not allow him. Still, we have those big beefy tanks, the Mega Knight and the P.E.K.K.A, but both are not really viable options because we have those 3 elixir minis doing such a better job in tanking and providing, I don't know, tankiness utility to your team. So overall, those 2 mini are still not really in a good spot at the moment because they're getting overshined by the 3 elixir minis. Next one is going to be the Guard. The Guard had a heavy nerf, or like a rework, which was not really in his favor, and he's now getting completely overshadowed by the Knight. At the moment, most of the time, you're only having 2, maybe 1 2 elixir mini in your deck, and the Guard is not one of them. The Miner, I'm really not sure about the Miner, to be honest. In some decks, he's really good. For example, with the Barbarian, with Shield Maiden, he can do a really great job because you do not need to level him anymore. Only just placing him already is giving you some value. At the same time, though, I feel like it's not really, he's kind of like coin flip, and this is why to me he's at C tier. The next mini is a really big coin flip as well, and that's the Fisherman. He got a really big nerf. He's still viable as a surprise mini in a deck, and I think we can see him in tournaments as well, just to surprise your opponents. Otherwise, I'm not that big of a fan anymore. But I don't know, that's just my feeling about him. The next one is the Archer. The Archer is useful in some decks, but at the same time, just the healing power overall, which we have in the game at the moment, is not really fitting her style, where she's just doing a little bit of chip damage to the backline. It's not working like that. And that was already the C tier. Now let's move into the B tier. I think we have a lot of minis in this one. Starting things off is the Prince, as well a mini which can be really strong if you're hitting those, if you're hitting the Prince line. And I think with so many special fields at the moment, it's really not that hard to predict where you're going. At the same time, the big problem for him is he's 4 elixir. At the moment, 3 elixir is king. There's 3 elixir minis are just so much better than the 4 elixir, and that's why he's only in B tier in my opinion. The next one is the Wizard. The anti-heal cut was incredible for him. His 3rd star ability got a 100% anti-heal to 50% anti-heal reduction. And this is just, for 2 elixir, it's not that great anymore. So that's why he's in the lower B tier list. Next one is the Battle Healer. The Battle Healer is pretty strong, especially in the Shield Maiden healing deck. If you should definitely check it out, my video about that. But it does not feel as strong because you have to invest a lot of elixir. At the same time, you have to mess up those all 3 elixir decks as well. Again, so I feel like the big suffering point at this point is, again, it's 4 elixir and not 3. That's the big problem for a lot of those heavier elixir mini. Next one is the Magic Archer. The Magic Archer I feel like is really worth, especially in combination with our next mini, which is the Spear Goblin. Because the Spear Goblin, the opponent has to protect their backline with the tank in front of it. But at the same time, within a tank in front of your backline mini, the Magic Archer is incredibly strong. So I came up with a couple of decks where you actually can like get rid of the healing and just put Spear Goblin and Magic Archer into it, and it's really good working. So that's why I put them into the middle B tier, because I mean it's pretty nice. The next one is the Ice Wizard. The Ice Wizard is still a nice thing to counter melee heroes. Counter the Wave Master a little bit, counter the King, the Countess, and so on. So it's overall a pretty decent mini, but again, it's 2 elixir, and that's a big problem at the moment. The same thing with the Knight. The Knight is still such a good mini, it's just, there's no really fitting good 4 elixir mini for it. And just putting the Knight into your deck with a lot of 3-star, like 3 elixir minis, is not working that great. And that's exactly the reason why we're going to A tier, where every single mini from this point on is going to be a 3 elixir mini. Just because they're working so well together, you never have elixir left over. You could have the worst shop rotation, you're always going to spend every single elixir in your matches. And at the lowest tier, we have the Dark Goblin. The Dark Goblin got dethroned because of a couple of reasons. Countess is back as a viable hero. Shield Maiden is really good as well at the moment. Those are countering the Dark Goblin really, really heavily. The next one is the Wave Master and Queen. Both are countering him as well, because the Queen can just burst him quickly, and the Wave Master is just stunning him non-stop, which is really making his job as like stacking up the attack speed really hard. We're coming to the next one, Valkyrie. Valkyrie is one of the main reasons why mini like the Witch, except there's a rework happening, will never be meta. If you use the Valkyrie, the Witch is pretty much useless. And just because of that, and because of her raw power, she's just in a really good spot. The next mini is the Lumberjack, which is a really good tank for the early stages without putting any more resources into him. And then for the late game, you can upgrade his 3rd star ability, which is providing him and your team really from the beginning a lot of burst, because you get this rage off right away. Next one, the Boulder. The Boulder right now, with so many special tiles, he's really good. He's just tanky. You can upgrade him as well if you want to have more stun duration on the Clone map, for example. So overall, a really, really good all-rounder, just to have some more utility. Next one still, the Giant Skeleton. The Giant Skeleton got demoted from the S tier, but still is in a really good spot as a main tank in the front, just to provide some damage. If you're upgrading the larger area, he's really annoying for the Contest, for example. You can upgrade the stun duration if you want to counter the Shield Maiden. So he has a lot of different directions where you can go for, depending on whatever you're facing. So still, he's a really, really good option, but at the moment getting overshadowed just a little bit from the Golden Giant. The Golden Giant is such a good tank at the moment. Upgrade him as his 1st star ability, and he's getting unkillable for like decks like the Wave Master, except he's having a lot of burst. He is so tanky with those heals, and that's why he's, I think, in a good spot at the highest level of the A tier. Moving on to the S tier, there's 3 mini in this one, and we're starting things off with the Mini P.E.K.K.A. The Mini P.E.K.K.A. is good against everything. Against the King, against the Contest, against the Shield Maiden, against the Wave Master, against the Monk. It's just so good. And as well against the Golden Giant, because, well, that's your main tank at the moment for most of those decks. So overall, he's kind of like a must pick at the moment, because he's so strong versus so many different decks. And that's as well our mini which is coming next. It might be a big surprise, which is the Musketeer. The Musketeer is a big surprise to me, like that she has a comeback. The main reason why the Musketeer is such a must pick for pretty much every single deck is because you're messing up the healer positioning. You already noticed by now we have the rank 1 mini, which is the Healing Ranger, but for this you need to have a straight positioning. You need to have a line where you can place all of your mini, and the Musketeer is destroying that. With pushing back mini, making the map overall more chaos, which then is giving you better options to make sure that the opponent, Healing Ranger or Battle Healer or whatever, is not getting their job done and hitting the correct minis. So that's why the Musketeer is so strong. In addition to the stun duration and everything, she's just like so annoying to all of those melee heroes because they cannot move, especially as well the Wave Master. So overall, really good mini. And I mean, Range Healer, what do I have to say about this? She's just too strong. I feel like that's pretty simple. She's just so strong, keeping alive entire teams. And well, I think it's a nice way that a supportive mini is at the top of this list, because this way it does not feel as broken to me. For example, if Dark Goblin is in a deck, he's just single-handedly carrying the game by dealing the damage. Range Healer is more like leaning backwards, chilling, and healing. So I'm more fine with having a supportive mini at the top than like a huge carry, which is just going to do 1 versus 9. So yeah, overall, that's my tier list. Let me know where I'm wrong, where I may be correct. Let me know what your tier list looks like. And guys, thank you so much for watching. I will see you guys back tomorrow, or back for the next video. Until then, see ya and bye bye.